Now, when you think of the Indian space program, at least 4 spacefaring rockets come to mind, but there's one rocket that holds a very special place. It is India's most recognizable and most flown orbital rocket. As this rocket gears up for the launch of India's Aditya L1 mission to study the sun, our correspondent Siddharth MP sends us this report. Take a look.
India's maiden moon mission in 2008, done. India's maiden Mars mission in 2013, done. And now, the workhorse is ready for India's maiden mission to study the sun. We are talking about the PSLV rocket, or India's Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. India's most versatile and most reliable orbital rocket. This rocket soon completes 30 years in service of India. From the mid-1990s onwards, the 4-staged PSLV rocket is what brought India into the real league of spacefaring nations. Though a very small rocket, compared to its global counterparts, its versatility has proved its purpose. From 2017 till 2021, India's PSLV held the world record for launching the highest number of satellites in a single launch. PSLV had placed 104 satellites in orbit. In 2021, Elon Musk's SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket beat that record by placing 143 satellites in orbit. The PSLV vehicle has an enviable track record. So far, the vehicle has been launched 58 times, and 55 of them have been successes. This explains the reliability of the rocket that's carrying India's Aditya L1, the maiden mission to observe and study the sun.
In its 30-year operational life, India's PSLV rocket has established itself as a versatile workhorse and has an enviable success rate of more than 95%. India has been done proud by the PSLV rocket by successfully launching India's maiden moon mission Chandrayaan-1 and maiden Mars orbiter mission Mangalyaan. PSLV is not just a vehicle of choice for ISRO, but it's also a vehicle of choice for ISRO's foreign customers. PSLV rocket has done India proud by earning India several millions of dollars in foreign revenue by launching more than 350 foreign satellites in a flawless manner. With video journalist Chandrasekhar from Sriharikota, Siddharth MP, WION World is One.
As we all know, India is still riding high on Chandrayaan-3 and the immense success that has been praised. And now this happens to be India's maiden solar mission, the Aditya L1. And the countdown for the launch of India's maiden solar mission, the Aditya L1, has begun. It is important to note that this will make India one of the few nations that is currently studying the sun. And if all goes well with this mission, that is Aditya L1, it will bring India among few countries across the world who are currently probing the sun. Now, let's get a little bit more details about what this mission essentially entails. If all goes according to plan, the Aditya L1 will enter into a halo orbit around one of the 5 Lagrange points. These are essentially areas that are known as parking spots in space. And why this is important is because regular probes can't orbit them in a constant pattern while conserving fuel. And from there, the Aditya L1 can enjoy an uninterrupted view of the sun. So why is this important for everyone? Because if this mission is successful, India will be able to study in real time its effect, that is the sun's effect on environmental conditions which are currently in the vicinity of the Earth and even other planets. And this would make India among the few countries which is currently probing the sun. And of course, to get us the latest about this ambitious program, joining us now is our correspondent Siddharth MP. He joins us live from Sriharikota. Siddharth, you're in the thick of the action. Of course, as we know, India is currently riding high on the success of the Chandrayaan-3. Tell us about the significance of Aditya L1.
As you had just pointed out, Aditya L1 is India's maiden attempt to study the sun. Sun is worshipped in folklore, sun is worshipped in cultures, sun is the lone source of power and energy for our solar system. In fact, it is the sun that holds the solar system together. It's also the nearest star that is to Earth. So it is, if the scientists on Earth want to study any star, they'll have to begin with the sun. Why the sun is important is purely because of the fact that a lot of activities that we carry out in space are dependent on the sun. All the spacecrafts that we send out into space have their fuel on board, which is in limited capacity. But there's one commodity in unlimited capacity, that is solar power. All these spacecrafts get their electrical power from the sun. So we have to remember that solar power is a crucial aspect. Another thing is that the sun is also very crucial for the operation of satellites. Every now and then, just like, earthquakes and tremors happen on the surface of the Earth, there are also similar quakes that happen on the sun. So they are called coronal mass ejections. So high-speed particles, high-energy particles are erupted from the sun's outermost layer known as the corona. So when that happens, these particles travel at whopping speeds of 3,000 kilometers per second. So when they come in the line of sight of satellites, they can sort of blind satellites, damage them, render them useless. So that can cripple the Earth. We become blind and deaf essentially. So what happens? ATMs don't work, your networking doesn't work, your GPS doesn't work, television doesn't work. There's a lot of problems that such eruptions from the sun can cause. Aditya is meant to study that. Aditya is meant to be able to predict such damage that can happen and help possibly, prevent them by taking countermeasures. So Aditya is a deep science mission. This is something that will help the scientists, and eventually the conclusions from that will help all of mankind. That's the intention behind such kind of sophisticated science.
Absolutely, Siddharth. In fact, you've summed up pretty well the practical applications of this mission. We often talk about India being a rising scientific power, its endeavor to study space, a successful lunar landing. But the practical applications of this mission, the Aditya L1, are definitely something to talk about. So tell us a little bit more about the countdown coming up, the preparations on ground. What can we expect?
So there's just barely 2 hours to go. So in these 2 hours, the final phase of the countdown happens. And this is also the time when the liquid fuels of the rocket are filled. We just discussed that the PSLV is a 4-stage rocket. The first stage is solid fuel. So solid fuel is essentially filled and kept ready. So solid fuel, you can assume that it's like burning firewood or coal. It's there and it's already pre-filled and ready. But liquid fuels are like the petrol and the gasoline that fuels our vehicles. So you have to fill it before the journey, and it is done just before that. So the liquid fuels in the second and fourth stage of the rocket are being filled in this point of time, and these are also very toxic and carcinogenic fuels, so they have to be filled very carefully. And this countdown itself, like you said, is something that is a very technical procedure. It's not just a clock ticking down.
Right,
every minute, every few minutes of the countdown, every hour of the countdown, there are certain fixed processes. All of them have to be carried out. So right now the vehicle...
Right, Siddharth, thank you so much for all those updates. We, of course, on WION will be tracking India's sun mission, the ambitious one. For now, thanks for joining us on WION World is One. WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.